So welcome to everybody that's just jumped on. We are on the live Q&A, Shopify and Amazon, two giants collide, e-commerce tools that you can't do without. So I'd like to introduce my lovely co-host, Nathan. Please take it away.
Thank you. So Nathan Lomax here, e-commerce specialist. We run a digital transformation agency called Quickfire Digital. We help clients maximize efficiency, profitability, and scalability through the use of tech.
Awesome, thanks for that. I'm Eloise Finch. I'm CEO of Sell Beyond. We help brands grow on Amazon in English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, and Dutch. And we're based in Suffolk. So today we are talking about the tools that you can't do without and how to actually make something of them. So I'm just gonna bring up a slide and then Nathan and I will discuss. The focus of today's session, marketing tools, time savers or time suckers, and why. What do we need to do to get the best out of them? And Nathan and I go head to head on our favorite tools for Amazon and e-commerce websites with some indication of what results you can expect.
The gloves are on.
Those of you that are going to be interested in having a longer chat, at the end of the Zoom, you can see a pop-up. It'll put you to a survey form. We'd love to know what you thought of it, if we could do anything better, any subjects you'd like us to cover. And you can opt into a call with me, a call with Nathan to look at your Amazon, your website, your e-com strategy. We're super happy to engage with you and just have a free chat, see if we can help you along. So the starter for 10, marketing tools, time savers or time sucks. Nathan, do you, where do you lie with this?
I always use the analogy ESP. So for me, it's around efficiency, scalability, and profitability. Too many times, I see people using tools because they've been told to use tools, but they don't necessarily know what they do or get the main benefits out of them. And some of these tools, I always use Sem Rush as a perfect example. Okay, it's an SEO tool that I'll probably share a little bit later. But actually, that thing is so powerful, yet people will only use like one or two elements from it. And so sometimes platforms are so consuming, and the one I would use is Google Analytics. There is so much data, you get this kind of data paralysis where you don't know where to look. And so for me, it's around, okay, very simply, top level, does this save me time? Does this allow me to scale quicker? And does it make me money? And if it does, then I'll normally invest. And if it doesn't, then again, you need to build a business case for these tools, right? Let's not just have 30 quid subscription here and 30 quid subscription there. What does it actually do to the business and how does it affect it in a positive way?
That's really interesting because I'd go from completely the other way. And often when I'm talking to businesses about Amazon, I'm like, okay, efficiency, profitability, scalability, that's what we all want. Well, what's the human factors here? Because any tool that you're going to subscribe to, which we talked about, you're going to need to look at it on a regular basis, depending what it is. And I'm sure different tools we've got have different frequencies you need to look at them. So if you haven't thought of the human factors, i.e. do I need to set a calendar reminder or block out an hour of my time to work through the data on this tool? Or have I got a member of my team that I can hold accountable for looking at it? Without the human factors, you're just throwing money at a tool that actually no one can operate. So yes, there has to be a business case, but you need to think, has somebody in my team got the skills or the resources to use it? And I'm just going to bring up a case. Obviously, my company works on Amazon, but we had a chat the other week about VWO, which is a testing tool for websites. And I downloaded it for my own website, got stuck in. And after about page 3 of the instructions, we got into whether I would be wanting to use Boolean search terms. And it was at that point, I was like, I now need to outsource this to somebody else because I realize I can't, I cannot, this is not going to be a good fit for my time to learn about it. And that's where the human factors come in. Great tool, trillion A/B tests I can do, but actually to really understand it, I probably need to pay someone to do it. And so I would say ESP, yes, but human factors, really important as well.
Another one I'd touch upon is that commitment. I'm sure it was in the Chips Paradox that we were reading together the other week when we were talking about those commitment, what was it, like a commitment wall or something?
The commitment screen. It's not the motivation to do it, it's the commitment to regularly do it that matters.
This is the thing, right? So you sign up for your tool, you do all the hard work, you pay your money, you get your card out, you find your card, you realize you got the wrong card, you find your other card, you go through the process, you sign up, you go through some onboarding, you watch a video, and then you get called for dinner or whatever, and that's the last time you ever use the tool. And as we were saying before we came on air, and then you look back in 12 months and go, oh, crumbs, I promised to use that tool. So all I would say is it works for different people. Some people would rather just take a block of time and just absolutely smash it. Others, maybe just an hour a day. But whatever it is, just commit and, yeah, just go all in. Don't just kind of spread so thin. And we use the spray and pray mantra quite a lot on this show, right? Like, don't try and use every single tool under the sun. Use a tool, get the absolute most of it, and then start bolting in other tools in a toolbox. But stop trying to do everything for everyone at the same time.
So if we're going to say adopt a marketing mindset, we want to say that we want to be realistic with the time that people in our team can analyze this stuff. We've got to know why it's important. Is there a business case for it? And then commit to, like, even putting time in our diary or somebody else's to make sure we're looking at the right pieces of information.
100%. The biggest thing I come across at the moment, I've had 3 calls in the last week about CRM systems. And so many people are like, what CRM system should I use? What one's right for me? And I always say to people, don't let the system control your process. Like, you create your process and then you find a system to fit it. Stop going the other way around and going, okay, well, we'll have to compromise on our process because that's how this system works and we want to work with that system. No, that's wrong. Like, I think we should find tools and systems that work with the processes that we set out.
Sounds like a dream. Let's see if we can actually make it work, right? So if we jump back into some of the things that we've got to share.
Just very quickly, before we move on, the only thing I'd say as well is about, this last point here, just because you're committing to a tool today, as your business scales and as you grow and as your knowledge expands, you may be able to upgrade tools and go on to different tools. So all I would say is go for a tool that's right for you now, but don't be afraid to say, actually, you can pivot and move from this tool in 6-12 months time. Just because you're using something now, it doesn't mean you always have to use it. And
I think I need to put my hand in the air, but that does mean that when you're on the software page, you need to check that you're going for monthly subscription, not yearly. So the moment that I subscribed to Buffer, which is a social media management tool, and end up paying $150 rather than $12, with the moment that Buffer has become my forever home for social media scheduling. So the attention to detail is a proviso for that particular story. But thanks for the great point, Nathan. So let's crack on to the first tool of the day. We are going with a website e-com tool. Nathan.
I feel this is like a boxing match. So on the red team,
in the red corner.
Yeah, weighing in at far too much after lockdown. Essentially, for me, one of the most important and powerful tools within Shopify is cart abandonment. Too many people, when we're looking at conversion rate, you focus on the home page, you focus on the category page, you focus on the product page. You then get to checkout and we think our job is done. But our job, of course, is not done until they've taken out the card, put it through the till, the virtual till, the checkout, and paid for their product. And so cart abandonment within Shopify is amazingly powerful. It's free and not enough people use it. So I took a screenshot here of one of our clients. You can see that even today, just today, these people have dropped out of the funnel.
Wow, that's insane.
They've done all the hard work and they've dropped out.
Doesn't Google Analytics, I mean, as a complete noob as it comes to all of this, doesn't Google Analytics do that with basket abandonment? What's this?
It will show you a bounce rate, but it won't show you who. Now, if you just go back to that screen a second, look at that screenshot, you will see that it goes as granular. And I've put that blue bar in to protect, obviously, confidentiality, but you get the client's email address. Okay, so all of it's done for the name. And so we get the name and then we can start to market to them to be a little bit more effective. And you just see there, like, tiny example, but just today on this store, we've lost, 80 quid, 90 quid? Now, I've always said, you look after the kind of small things and the big things will look after themselves. So let's just get the basics right. It's a free tool. It's really worth using. And I encourage you all to check it out.
So, and to make that work, we then have to set up an email sequence within Shopify. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly right. So I am always one for, again, the big thing for me is when you're abandoning your cart, I always try and use a bit of personality. Like, oh, it looks like you forgot something, or
what did we do wrong? I don't know. It
depends. Yeah, exactly. Wait, it's not too late. That kind of thing, as opposed to just pushing the product to them. It's got to be relevant. But you look at any kind of remarketing script, whether it be cart abandonment emails, whether it be Instagram remarketing or Facebook remarketing or Google Ads remarketing, it's all about how you can get them back on the site to feel like they've done all the hard work. You've just got one more bit to get them over the line. And sometimes it's just a question of asking them, like, what was the problem? So sometimes maybe you might leave it a week and then drop in a 5% coupon or something like that to be like, look, here's a little sweetener to get you over the line. Obviously making sure you've considered margins. But yeah, I think it's a powerful tool that is seriously underutilized.
Oh, really, really awesome choice. Thanks for that. Okay, in the red corner, I have a weird corner.
Yeah, you're definitely in the blue corner. You can't have two in the red corner. That'd be the worst fight ever.
in the blue corner, I'm going to go in with a free pay-per-click audit from a company called Nozzle. So this is for people that are on Amazon. As we know, Amazon is not the same as e-commerce. There's a whole bunch of different tools, software, everything to help you manage it better. I would thoroughly recommend everybody go check out Rail Client's company, Nozzle. They're offering a free pay-per-click audit with, if you put in an email, and this is one of my clients. I love the metric. You wasted 800 quid of ad spend over the past 60 days. I hasten to add, this was not me that ran the ads beforehand. And it really gives you a number to go, ouch, where did I spend the money? What campaigns didn't convert? Maybe a lot of you are really used to Google AdWords, where you get this served up for you quite easily. Amazon is not the same. They're not giving you that data. There are a lot of third-party software houses making this easy for you. And a pay-per-click audit should be the first step for everybody to see where are they missing a trick. And it's just all you need to sign up with email. So that's the starter for 10 on my corner for not throwing money around on ads like crazy, because Google AdWords does not help you with Amazon at all.
That's a big punch. That's on the back foot.
I've got £1,000 saved in my corner. I've got
a cut just opening up above the left eye. This isn't great. So coming back at you, for me, it'd be around reviews. And I love a tool called Judge.me within Shopify. It's a Shopify app. It allows us to send emails, obviously requesting reviews. Normally, I would request a review as soon as a product's been purchased. And then it shows us the metrics in terms of how many people have received those reviews, the average rating that we're given. And then what I really like is the kind of filters you can apply. And you see, I've just cut it up here, but you can see this one at 30 days. You can then say, that's great over the last 30 days. Maybe we've actively as a business employed some new metric or done something differently. But actually, let's look over 90 days. Let's look over 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Are we going up or are we going down? What's the trajectory and how can we improve that? So you can see here, actually, this client I screenshotted has been doing less activity. They've been sending less emails. It's then no coincidence that they've had a few less reviews. And actually their average rating has gone down as a result. Why is that? And now we can dive into it to say, okay, is it something we've changed? Is it something internally? Is it just the quality emails going out? Are people not sure? Or maybe something's wrong with the product?
I think that's a really interesting question. And maybe I'll be interested in your experience. I know on the Amazon side, often for companies that are running Amazon, it's a resourcing issue who's looking at reviews. So oftentimes in a company, there might be an admin or someone very, very junior that's asked to look at reviews at the same time they're managing somebody's diary, or they're doing purchase orders, they're doing a lot of different things. And that is when reviews tend to slip. I don't know whether the companies you talk at, whether reviews is something that we know it's important, social proof is huge, but who is managing that process?
So interesting. We try and automate it as much as possible. The responses you can't automate so much. Admittedly, you can give a fairly generic reply, but I personally, if you've got the time, I like to write personalized responses. But sometimes if you're selling at e-commerce scale, like you're selling tens of thousands of products a day, that's just not possible. So yeah, I would look to see how much of it you can automate in terms of the second a product goes out, you send a review, you then maybe send a chase a few days later, and then you collate all the responses, and then maybe set up a sequence or a workflow that says, if score is between 0 and 3, take this action.
Send the boys round.
Yeah, exactly. Send the heavies. If it's between 3 and 5, thank them with champagne and lovely gifts and make sure they tell everyone.
Or similar.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, thinking about, okay, well, yeah, what do we do if it's here? Realistically, 1 to 2, send to, this person needs a call, flag it in the CRM system, urgent, needs help. 3 to 4 would be like, or 2 to 3 would be like, okay, yeah, we probably need to just see what's gone wrong, why they're okay. Some people with scoring systems and reviews, despite how many times you tell them, will think 1 is brilliant and 5 is awful. Like, we still see that all the time, right?
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. I've given you the top marks. Like, no. It definitely doesn't work like that. 5 stars is always the best, and 1 star is always the worst. Like, how you can get confused, I don't know, but it still happens. The amount of people that I've spoken to and they go, oh yeah, I left this brand a really great star review. I was so happy with what they've done. I was like, and the thing is, in the comment below, they're like, yeah, really, really happy with what you've done. 1 star. Like, no. Well, 4 stars. That's worse, actually, is when you give 4 stars. Like, amazing, you couldn't have done any more. 4 stars. Well, why is it not 5 stars?
That's a really, just as a sideway, one of the things we see with our customers when they try and get reviews in France or Germany, French people tend not to give 5-star reviews. It's a cultural thing because there's always room for improvement. And I have had conversations with French people that are buying products for my clients, and they're like, yeah, it's great, but nothing is ever perfect. Like, this is hurting the algorithm, don't do it. But yeah, that's there's a lot to go into here. I'm going to come back at you there with my review management suggestion for those of us who are on Amazon. Selix is one of these massive tools that has so many amazing different parts of it. But one of the things you can do with Selix, amongst all the others, is get things flagged up if the reviews are of a certain star level or whatever. This particular company had a very bad review, no good. They weren't happy with it. The great thing with Amazon, and I suppose the two things where, again, we're looking at a human process as well as a tool. Selix, especially at scale, will ping you if you're getting reviews under 2-3 stars, whatever you set up. As an Amazon seller, that's going to hurt your selling algorithm. That's going to hurt you in your ranking. So you really, really need to sort it. And often there are ways of looking at the seller who left the review and managing to contact them and trying to change their mind and give them the love and help solve their problems for them. And that's where review management with Amazon companies, of course, you can automate it with that type of functionality, and you can send emails as well, but you often need to have a human intervention to get the best outcome for your company, and that's where resourcing plays a really big part in making sure these tools use effectively.
So I feel like in our boxing match, we've both got a little bit grazed, but at the same time, I've strategically placed this slide because I sense you'd be vulnerable and I could throw an uppercut and hopefully win.
Okay, so there was a left hook, right hook combo, and I'm still.
I've taken my guard down. I've worn one on the snout. Crumb. That is painful.
Another awesome thing with Selix, and it's a bit of a lateral move on my part. I do love this tool, and I'm certainly not getting any money for telling you this. Selix will help with SEO, so they will allow you to do an audit whether you are all of your bits of your product content optimized, the A+, the description, the title, the bullets. When was it last changed? And has it been changed through Selix? And this particular client hasn't been doing very much since lockdown. Understandably, there's a bunch of content that needs to be updated. Selix will let us give us an overview of that and do it at scale. And I think we will allow you to go back to yours.
Well, I'm just going to say the referee stepped in and called foul play for using the same tool twice. But hey, we're not going to point fingers. So for me, rewards and referrals is massive. And there's an amazing app for Shopify called Swell. If you just type in Yotpo within Google, that will come up. And you can incentivize people or give them points, just like I always use the kind of Nectar card example. If you're a Sainsbury's customer or a loyalty card with Tesco's, and you get the kind of, on your birthday, you earn some extra points. And as we know, points means prizes, and it normally means discounts from store, etc. So yeah, every birthday, here's 200 points. As you see, 54 clients have already taken this. Points for purchases is another interesting one. So just a little thank you for purchasing. Here's 10 points or £1 off your next spend when you come in store. Again, creating an account. We're looking at purchasing intent and actually how can we try and get them over the line. So creating an account is a great signal that someone's ready to engage. And therefore, let's give them a little thank you. Let's give them a little prod. And the final thing for me, the biggest one, is that referral program. If you're prepared to be an ambassador for our brand and you're prepared to shout about it, then I will absolutely give you maximum points and a sensible amount of money as a thank you.
That's really interesting. I'm wondering whether is that something that only works on your site, so people can only accumulate points on your site rather than a bunch of...
Yeah, this is it. It's not a... I mean, there are tools out there where I have seen it, like with the kind of passport system, right, where you work with a number of brands, and if you buy from there, you can redeem from there, whatever. But obviously, it's a bit harder if you can collate points and then use them from other stores, because someone's going to lose the margin at some point. So fine if you're in a group business, but actually normally it would just be one organization. You buy from them, you're an ambassador for them, you do something for them, you scratch their back and they will scratch yours.
So I don't know, without giving away any details of that particular client, can we have an idea about what type of stores that will work well for? Do we have to be repeat purchase?
I always see it way. So we're really strong in the world of cosmetics and food and beverage. And that's where we see the greatest success in it. So cosmetics, interesting, maybe, sorry?
Repeat purchases.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's just like the biggest thing for us is we have a fashion client, well, actually more than watch space. And for them, it's around how do we get more referral? So how do we create little ambassadors, which effectively become active sales agents, right? So yeah, you kind of get someone purchases a product, you then take them, everyone thinks that's the kind of funnel finished. It is, but you then go into another funnel, which is to become a brand advocate. We touched upon this a few shows ago. How can we then put them into this new funnel that says, okay, first of all, we'll give you a few points as a thank you for purchasing. Then we'll send you an email. Then we'll ask you to sign up and become an ambassador. then we'll give you something else, then we might send you a sample, then we might invite you to an exclusive event, we take it offline, we take it online, and we just nurture them through a sequence until they start referring and being sales teams.
Interesting. So it sounds like that type of program is good for if you've got repeat purchases, you're really incentivizing people, or you're trying to bring people up a ladder of loyalty, but they're not necessarily going to make another large purchase, but we want to keep engaging them and give them points to show how engaged they are.
The thing with that tool is that it's perfect for any e-com store. If you're going down the model you just said, then it works. But actually, if someone purchases all the time, that's also fine, because you can use the birthday part of it, or you can use something else part of it. It's all about making, again, back to I always use that thing, surprise and delight. How can you purchase something? You've transacted with your £500 or whatever, but then you've also got a little something extra, always just that little something more. This not only did I get my product, I also got 500 points towards something else. Like, love that.
Easily incentivized. Awesome.
He's on the ropes. Here we go.
I'm going to bounce back from that and go into keyword research. There is another left field move, and it's a real crazy platform that is so complicated as well. Very well known in the Amazon space. It's called Helium 10. It does a trillion things. I'm just going to show you one. The example is a bit random. We want to know if we're selling metal straws, that's like eco straws, who the competitors are in our space, what the keywords that are getting the most frequency, what words are we using, and what the search volume is on Amazon.com in this case. So it's a replacement for the human brain in a way, and a lot of people don't like it. I don't use it all the time. I prefer to trust my brain, but it'll give us an idea of velocity. The results down here, the filtered keywords, they're a bit random. I don't know why. Metal straw caver has given us some kind of Spanish examples, whatever. But in terms of if we're selling product and we're not sure how to optimize Amazon SEO, a starter for 10 is to use Helium 10, and there are about a trillion other things. I would probably need a show in and of itself to help us share it. And but it's interesting. There is a free version that you can get 2 searches a day. And I love the way it gives us our competitors who are selling the most in top products, and we all need to know what our competitors are doing from time to time. And I did just want to shout out, I can see Rail Klein's jumped on. He wasn't here right at the beginning when I did shout out his free PPC tool, Nozzle. So anyone wants to get in touch with him, you can see him on the chat list, and he can answer any Q&A at the end. So that's
the
my
best way I would compare this tool is a bit like you've changed the southpaw, you've changed your stance, and now we're boxing a totally different game. I thought this was just about,
I'm not running around you.
Here we go. Yeah, exactly. Tiring me out.
Okay, right. What do you got for us, Nathan?
So the next thing I wanted to talk about is subscription. The rise of subscription within the world of e-commerce has been phenomenal. And more people, whether it be sofas at DFS, never does someone now go and buy a £600 sofa. They will pay like X amount of pound a month. Same with appliances, same with all sorts of things. We live in this model now, particularly with cars and everything else, where you pay for things monthly. And therefore, subscription, and you look at someone like a Graze or some of these other kind of cosmetics brands where you can buy something and it's now everywhere, whether it be socks, whether it be pants, whether it be bras, whether it be whatever, you can get something on subscription every single month. And in order for you to do that within Shopify, I always encourage people to use either bold subscriptions or recharge subscriptions. So again, I've blocked out the customers' names just to keep confidentiality, but essentially you can see in the last couple of days, we've had 6 subscriptions there, sign-ups, all you're working through Stripe. And actually quite a lot of them have been new customers, which is really exciting.
That's
the
first charge, right?
Is good, but the what? So yeah, first time. So when they're first charge, that means they've just entered the subscription cycle. When they're recurring charge, it just means that their month has come back around and they're ready to be billed again. But a subscription tool, it's fairly low cost, it's easy to use, and I really recommend. In fact, we were going to once upon a time I've got a contact at Recharge. So if anyone is interested in listening and would like to know more about that or just have a call with someone, let me know. I'm more than happy to make an introduction. So
it sounds like there's subscriptions. We are reordering the same product every month from that website because we love it. We love it, we trust it. And coming out of our direct debit, essentially. Yeah, disposable things that quite often.
Again, some people do gift sets, hampers, that kind of thing.
Hair products.
Bath bombs, yeah, whatever it is. Stuff that's used and then you can use it again and you need it every single month. And I don't know if, one of our clients, I'm not sure if she's on. Yeah, she is on. So she sells underwear, and we've talked about her on previous webinars. But again, she's got a subscription model, right? Where every month You just get that little treat to you. And that kind of empowerment piece is becoming more and more prominent in the world of e-com in terms of just give yourself a little treat. You've worked hard, it's tough, COVID, everything else, just once a month, just spend a little bit of something on you. And each month something different comes through the door.
So that particular, the integration or whatever, the app that you've got here, that allows us to create direct debits essentially in our Shopify store.
Yes, you will set it up. Like I say, I typically use Stripe when we're setting up, but there are other payment gateways available. Same with Bold. But yeah, exactly right. It allows you to set up a recurring billing cycle that means that people can reorder product time and time again.
I like it. I feel like it's
the last thing.
Direct hit.
Yeah, it creates them a little account, which then they can manage their. So we also did this for a flower subscription business down in Bristol, and it allows them to change their settings as well, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, okay, always deliver to the same house. Oh, crumbs, I'm out on this Thursday. I won't be able to get my subscription. So I'm going to skip a month, or I'm going to change my delivery date, or I'm going to do this or do that, or I'm going to gift it and send it to someone else this month. The tools in there are phenomenal. So I really recommend having it installed, have a play and see what you think.
Awesome. Okay, I'm coming back at you. Oh, no, I'm not. No, you
go.
Whoa,
here we go. So the last one from me is around exit intent and messenger pop-ups. As we've seen, this is in, a week that we've seen that we've assisted with another $490 worth of revenue, over 157 conversions by just before they go. This is our last chance to catch them. And it's just like, wait, before you go, have you thought about this, or buy this, or sign up here, or whatever. And it's normally an intent pop-up, we call it. So it might be they've got to a certain point on the website. Typically, exit intent is the most popular and one I prefer the most. It's almost like your last chance, as if someone's leaving your high street store and you're like, oh, wait, before you go, we've got this on, or we've got this, or how about this?
Or something like that.
Yeah, exactly right. And again, the messenger pop-ups are also nice with an Optimonk to say, okay, they've been on the site for X amount of time, they've hit certain key pages. Again, within some tools, they call them hot pages. So you're like, okay, let's mark some pages that to you are a purchasing intent. So in my world, if anyone's on case studies on our website, I'd be like, okay, now they're interested in purchasing, right? Because they're looking at some of our previous examples, as opposed to them just landing on the homepage. Maybe it's not relevant to just hit them with a pop-up.
Got it. Okay, that's awesome. Thanks for that. I am going back in at you straight away with automated email marketing. Seller Labs is one of the tools we can do that at Amazon. This will allow us to track. We can send email sequences with Amazon as long as our customers have opted into that, which is, they can opt out through Amazon. But otherwise, we can see what the orders are, the open rate, the unsubscribe, where they are in the sequence. And this is really important to help people get reviews, to make sure that they expect what's in the box if you're selling something a bit complex, that they don't have any nasty surprises, that they follow up and then maybe reorder, become brand ambassadors. And although it's through Amazon and Amazon's ordering platform, obviously many people who are selling on Amazon want to get people off Amazon. So there are ways to do it, but certainly by sending people messages and getting some brand awareness and some love is a great way to start. So Seller Labs has got a number of features, but automated emailing, email sequences after purchase is one of them.
That was my question there, are you allowed to build a workflow off the back of it? So it's not just one email, it's another email in 3 days time, 5 days time, 10 days time.
Absolutely. In fact, that particular client, but it's very clear from the screenshot I took what the client is, so I didn't use that screenshot in the end. That client has a 5-step email because he sells a high-end product that has certain intricacies. It's a technical product. So he wants people to know what they're getting, why they're getting it, how to use it, what happens, blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards, they're asked to send reviews and stuff like that. So they have a 5-step process.
Love that. So I have started to prepare. I thought we'd get to this stage in the fight, and I'm feeling a little tired. So I thought we would go in with yeah, exactly. I'm going left field, and I'm coming away from Shopify, and I'm going towards an SEO tool called Sem Rush. So
okay, this is for me that knows nothing, and maybe some of the participants. For me, this is like the big daddy of website tools I know nothing about.
Can you see this?
Yes, I can. We can see whose site Audit is. Is that?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. It's Gerald's. So Gerald's one of my favorite e-commerce brands in the region. I think they're a fantastic company. And so what I decided to do before I came on is run a health check on them to see just how well the site's performing. And as you can imagine, we see some absolute horror shows, but I'm delighted to report, as you would expect, that Gerald's have pretty much got it all in hand, right? They're doing really well. However, nobody's perfect, and there's a couple of errors, and I'm sure they won't mind me pointing them out. So within Sem Rush, you can see various different metrics. The main ones I always point out is this kind of, it's almost a RAG system, but it's not. For some reason, I've used blue rather than green for notices. But you've got red as errors, amber as warnings, and blue for notices. So the first thing, again, priorities, you would fix your errors. And the errors for these guys are around 2 pages have a duplicate meta description. So what I mean by that is if I was just to type in Gerald's, you can see here, this bit here is a meta description. Okay, this bit here and this bit here. Okay, and these blue bits here are meta titles. So 2 of the pages within the Gerald store have the same meta description. Now for a site, pardon?
Is that serious?
It's not great. It's not great, and the reason it's not great is because it's missing an opportunity, right? You have another bite of the cherry. Google's all about relevance, and to have the same duplicate meta description or duplicate page title or that kind of thing would implicate that actually it's the same page or similar page or duplicate content, and we all know that Google doesn't particularly like duplicate content. So it's such a low-hanging, easy, quick win that I'm just like, just get it done. And the nice thing is you could view all the issues. If I just do this here. Here we go. You can see, look, before we absolutely have a dig at Jabs, like, look how phenomenally well they've done for all these things. They're absolutely killing it. But there's a couple of things there, some tiny little quick wins that they could do. But if you click on it, it takes you into the error in more detail. So this one was 3 images don't have alt tags. For those that aren't aware, alt tags are kind of the text behind an image. Google's a robot. It can only read text. And so with an alt tag, it just allows it to make the kind of image crawlable, right? So we look here and we see that 3 images don't have an alt tag. That's a super easy win. You can just log into the CMS, the content management system, and attribute an alt tag. But there's only 3.
Yeah, I know it's a hard thing to ask you, but why do we care about all of this? What's the payoff for us?
The big thing for me is around, again, we're not an SEO consultancy, but whenever we talk about SEO, it's all around benchmarking. So imagine that Gerald's is competing with another department store, John Lewis, House of Fraser, whoever. Okay, if it's a run-in, you would look to compare, okay, why is this one outranking this one? And normally it's just a very clear benchmark to say, okay, if we've got however many ranking factors, and as you see, there are hundreds and there are more, it's like, okay, are they doing better than that one? And if they are, then they'll push them higher. And if they're not, they'll push them lower. Because all we're trying to do, or all Google's trying to do, is show the most relevant result. Okay, so to me, it's like, okay, fair enough. This one here, around 2 issues with unminified JavaScript and CSS files, a little bit more complex, maybe take a little bit more time. These ones here, 3 alt tags, 2 pages with the same H1 tag, these are all such low-hanging fruit, easy changes that it's like, why wouldn't you?
You're scaring me already. If I was the marketing manager, I'd be having. My question is, is Sem Rush very expensive? And as a company, should I have it, or should I ask my web designers to have it?
Yeah, use your web designer. So this is we pay monthly. Again, that whole annually monthly setup.
Ooh, yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah, so we have a monthly subscription, so we can run it for all of our clients. Again, anyone listening, because we have a free subscription, we have a subscription that we pay for. If anyone decides actually they want to use it or they want to have their site checked, as part of our site audits, we will always include this kind of thing. So yeah, anyone listening, they're more than welcome to just message me, text me, whatever. Like, we'll happily run your site audit, because to me in marketing, it's all around benchmarking. How do you know where you are now, and how do you know where you want to go to? And Sem Rush is the perfect tool to allow you to do that. Now,
I'm coming back at you. Get up.
Wait. I'll let you go. But very quickly, I've shown you earlier on, I talked about one feature. Down here, there are so many features that are possible that actually don't just use that. I've only just scratched the surface, but I'm conscious of time. Check it out. Or I'm more than happy to jump on an independent webinar with you all and show you it in more detail.
So the win for a marketing tool, it sounds like, is that the type of thing you might want to monthly dip in from your web designer? Unless you're really, really big, you're probably going to outsource this to someone else, but it should be looked at what basis? If you're
again, it depends on the work you're putting on the website. Like, there's no point in running a report now and then a report in 6 months if you haven't done any work. So depending on the frequency and how much work you're doing, then that will determine how frequent you're going to rerun the report. But even if you set a benchmark and a standard of quarterly, that would stand you in good stead. Okay, so Q1, we're here. Q2, we're here. We've gone up or down. If we've gone up, great. Why? If we've gone down, great. Why? Well, not
so we run the report, and then someone needs to execute on the details. We need to make sure they're done.
I've just done the easy part. The easy part is hitting run and getting the results. The hard part is then executing it. Or
giving it to your web designer or your team or your agency and prioritizing, right? Because that can seem quite overwhelming. And I know I've done it with my own web designer. Yeah. It's like, what of all of these things can we do in the time that I've allocated for you to work for me this month?
It's all about priorities. And actually there might be some far higher priorities, like with Jared's, for example. Yes, an H1 tag's an issue, but is it actually the end of the world? Or actually, would they rather spend their time creating a new subscription platform or doing something else or adding new product or whatever it may be?
That's why we need experts to guide us through the jungle, Nathan.
For sure.
I just gave you that punch, right?
You literally yourself. You literally hit yourself in the face.
So my benchmarking tool, I love it. It's I'm such a fan of it, and it's really simple. So the great thing is, it's and some of you have seen it before. If you've been on any other webinars, I love Keeper, and it's cheap and it's amazing and it benchmarks. So Keeper has two faces. It's got the face that you see is a Chrome extension on your Amazon. So I've just this is in deal of the day. It was on Amazon's homepage today. You've got your general product page. We all know it. If we scroll down here, we've got the Keeper extension that lives inside our Amazon now. If we've got the Chrome extension, Keeper will tell us so much cool stuff. It'll tell us if it's ours or if it's a competitor's. If I just get rid of those, sales rank. So sales rank is in green, and at the top means you're doing really well, selling lots. Down here, they didn't sell very much. So Keeper allows us to get an eye on our competitors about how well they're doing. It will allow us to look at the list price changes. Have they made a change? Like suddenly this company went from 33 to 35. If we are deciding that they're a big competitor of ours, then we can go figure out, should we be changing our prices or should we be advertising hard or whatever. The other side of Keeper is there's a load of data you can pull on who else has got offers at the moment. These are Amazon's offers of the day, lightning deals today. We can look at other deal types that are on amazon.co.uk, and Keeper will pull them all for us. So it's not massively overwhelming. It could be useful, and they'll also allow you to track it. So if I want to track my main competitors' products, I've got the Black Spice rum again. I can have a load of products here, pull them up, and I can just get a dashboard of what they're doing on a monthly, daily, weekly basis. And then I'll know, are they doing better in terms of ads? If they're doing better in sales, is it the ads? Is it the price? And we can just benchmark ourselves against them. And it's pretty simple. I don't think it's probably more than, I think I paid 50 quid for it. And it's super, super useful. And it's really, really good you see how you're doing without having to go into Amazon reports and to see how your competitors are going. Easy benchmark, and then figure out the marketing things you need to do. But yeah, it's a great bit like Sem Rush, gives you a picture.
I've had to take a knee. I'm taking the count. I've received a low blow. This isn't great. So I'll come back at you.
It's easy. So your Sem Rush is too expensive and complicated, right?
I'm coming back in. No, I'll change it. We're using something here called Send in Blue. So Send in Blue.
Oh, that's loads, Nathan.
Oh, you didn't have that. I mean, did you? So Send in Blue is an email marketing automation system. It's similar to MailChimp, but I've found the functionality and ease of use far greater. In terms of what you can do, you've got your basic email marketing and SMS marketing that you can do within the platform. The only pushback I have on email is that email is so saturated right now. I often talk to people about coming offline. In fact, just while I'm thinking, boy, have I got a tool to finish this off.
Go to it, because I'm not going to go down the MailChimp route. This is
So we've got a CRM built in, marketing automation. The big thing for me is around the workflows. So if I take you here, I can show you that it's really important to me. I always say, what happens if you get hit by a bus or if you get knocked out by Nate winning the boxing match here? What happens? Can the business still run? And so to me, it's like, okay, how can I make sure that someone purchases and then without lifting a finger, an email sent? And 3 days later, another email sent. And 5 days later, a text is sent. And something else is done. And something else is done. And before you know it, the whole business is systemized and it's not pulling on resource, because so many retailers, e-com stores, all of us have the same problem, and that's time. And we struggle to prioritize, and then we struggle to implement. And then sometimes we implement and we rush it, or sometimes we just don't implement at all. So how can we build automated systems and sequences that allows us to do it once and then forget about it? Back over
That's what we're going. I feel like we're going back to mindset here, Nathan. I think we should end on that rather than go head to head.
No, don't give up. I've got a brilliant last one.
No,
So
I'm going to win this, but you guys go with the last best
okay,
shot.
so very quickly is just on this final tool, and it's called Scribeless. So in a world where everything is on email and everything is online, how can we disrupt offline? How can we catch people by surprise with a little jab or a hook and essentially finish them off? And so Scribeless is an amazing tool that allows you to send handwritten letters to your audience, but it does it en masse. So it copies a set of handwriting you can see here. Let me see if I can share an example. It's unbelievable. I absolutely love it. So you get different examples and it looks like it's come from you, but actually it could be after someone purchases a product. It could be an invitation. It could be anything. But most importantly, you can put it in a colored envelope. There's no substitute for traditional pen and paper. And I think it's an amazing tool. Is
it actually written like with ink, or is it printed?
Yeah. Well, no, to be fair, I think it's printed. So the first one is the examples I got. I literally got a sample pack through the other day because I'm looking at this tool myself and I was so impressed. We're just about to roll it into a couple of our e-com stores, but I believe the first one is obviously handwritten and then it's just printed. But again, you can't tell that it didn't, to me, some of those things, you know, like when it looked like they've been scanned or copied, you can tell the quality was phenomenal. I was really impressed actually. And so the stuff they do with e-commerce, again, how do we encourage people to come back? How can we give discounts? Yeah, you can put in an email, but how about you send something offline, something with a colored envelope with a personalized name that looks handwritten that makes you feel special. So yeah, if I encourage you to anything, request a free sample and have a look.
I like it. That's good. That's another left field. That's another left field example. So I think we should wrap up and see if there's any Q&A. We have gone through a lot of different combos here and a lot of different tools. I would Nathan knows what I'm going to do, but it's because it's on my wall and I don't know whether you can read that. That's today's motivational message, right? If you decide to do anything, remember it's the commitment, not the motivation that matters. Whatever marketing you're going to do, make sure you stick at it, because if you haven't got the human resources in place, if you haven't thought of the process, and if you're not checking what subscriptions you've got, you're just not making the most out of it. So choose a couple of things and try and do them well. That's what we all got to do, right?
This is it. Pull the trigger, as I always say. Do something and do it well.
Pull the trigger consistently. Aim and fire consistently.
Yeah, well, the first step, of course, is to pull the trigger, right? You've got to pull the trigger once, and then you get the taste of it, and then you keep pulling it. Or better still, you put it into semi-automatic or whatever, and then you just hold down the trigger and you buy it.
That doesn't work. So tell me this, like in terms of websites, and I'm sure you work with lots of different companies where they're owner managed and somebody is trying to run everything. You've got big companies. Where do you see, what does it take to get a marketing machine going for an e-commerce store? Where do you see the best examples of your clients? Where has it really worked?
Good question. It works best. We've got a fantastic cosmetics brand that we've just onboarded actually. And when we went in there, their marketing automation was actually okay. But the reason it's okay is because they are super, super process driven. So the big thing I see is people don't work with a goal in mind. So I would say work with a goal in mind and work backwards. So what are you looking to achieve? How are you going to achieve it? But again, back to that point I raised earlier. So many people start with the tool and then kind of muddle their way through, and then they form a process at the back of it, and then they think that's the job done. No, think about the person you're trying to reach or the objectives you're trying to achieve, and then go backwards from that. So, okay, I need to do this. I need to do this. So do it all. I do like a logic flow diagram or something just on a piece of paper. I need to do that step, that step, that step, that step. Okay, now let's start looking at what steps can be automated. That one could use a system. That one could use a system. That one could use a system. Is there a system that does all three? Or is there a system that talks? Another amazing tool is called Zapier, and it allows you to basically bolt tools together. So sometimes you'll be like, okay, well, to do my process, I need 4 or 5 different tools. Yeah, but a Zapier or something like that might be able to just bolt them all together for you. So then you can just hang each one, and when that one fires, that triggers something over here. Again, I use the dominoes example, right? You hit one domino, it hits the next one, which hits the next one, which hits the next one, and then you get the kind of end result. So Yeah, this is the best example I think I've seen is probably in the cosmetic space or in the luxury space, because they plan. They plan and they scrutinize it. And the best thing about it is, just because they got it right today, they don't just rest on their laurels and think that's it. They go back and they prove it and they test it and they say, actually, if something's not working, always, the biggest successful clients we work with are super granular about the data. They have data dashboards.
I think you need to have a process in place, because I meet a lot of people that are selling on Amazon, and Amazon, a bit like Google Analytics, there's a lot of data. You can't get granular with the data unless you understand there's a process in place you need to follow, you need to have the goals, and you need to figure out who's going to do it. And I'll give an example. There's a food and drink client that I've been speaking to recently that wanted me to take on their Amazon ads. And I said, okay, Belle, what's the lifetime value of your customers? Because it's food and drink, therefore repeat. So what do we need to spend on ads to make it worth our while? No, I just want you to run my ads. That's kind of irrelevant. Like, that is very much a marketing approach where we've got an ad management tool and we're just going to use the tool, rather than there is a goal, there is a budget attached, somebody's going to run it, and we understand whether we've been successful or not. And in my space, I get a lot of owner-manager companies where they've grown on Amazon, they've built their brand on Amazon, not doing too much on their e-commerce. The owner-manager understands the importance of all this data. When I work with corporates, they don't really have the understanding and the granular data. They're great at process, but not on Amazon, and they're falling behind. And I think it's really, really, I spoke to an e-commerce guy yesterday, actually, so he's a personal friend, and he goes out to Taiwan. He's a flooring company. They do flooring for all different types of things. He told me that when he's in Taiwan, he's looking at the product samples, he sends a photo to his Google Ads manager saying, what do you think of this? And the ads manager goes, no, I think that's too high for cost per click. And then he doesn't buy it. I thought that was insane. Like, end-to-end process. He's in the factory and he's got already thinking about how much the ads will cost.
That's really cool. I love that example. And in fact, for me, it's gum shield out, it's towel in from the corner. I think you might have just pipped me. That's a really cool story. I imagine if more brands were like that, right? Where they obsess over the data, but they don't just think about the here and now. And I always compare marketing to a game of chess, right? You need to think of the knock-on consequences. And if you do that, then that happens and that happens. And always try and think 2 moves ahead. And that's a big pitfall I see in a lot of brands, is they think about the here and now and today. And, oh, yeah, it's great. We'll send it out. Let's just send it out. Yeah, great. But what does that mean? Like, what's the outcome? And then what's the follow-up to that and the follow-up to that? How do you make things into sequences rather than just one-off spray and pray campaigns?
I'm conscious of time. If there's anyone that wanted to jump in, Nathan and I have had a ball, but is there anyone that wanted to jump in with a question? I'm very curious. The one marketing tool, we did a poll at the beginning, some of you are only using one marketing tool. I'm really curious what that is and whether it's the same. I'm using about 10 at least, if not 15.
4 people are using one tool.
What is that secret thing? It's Gmail. That's
I'm like, oh,
that's cool. I don't want to embarrass anyone. Anyone wants to jump in with a question? We're super happy to help. As you guys know, at the end of the Zoom, there'll be a pop-up. You can leave us some feedback, and Nathan and I can see who really won the contest. So obviously, say whether the red or the blue corner won, right?
Handwritten scribeless card.
Yeah, we've got your backs if you want to have a strategy review or e-commerce review. We're super available. Always love to talk about Amazon and Nathan about e-commerce. So let us know if we can help in any way.
The final thing just before we go would be to talk about the upcoming webinars we've got coming up. Lovely message from Stuart there.
Start with the chat, Stuart. Start with the chat. Stuart says, great session, but also overwhelming with so much out there. Where do you start? Start with the chat. Get someone to help you make a plan.
Most importantly, whether it's you, whether it's I, whether it's someone else, start with someone that's outside of the business, because then you don't have the emotion. When you're talking to someone within the business, and certainly a founder or co-founders or husbands, wives, partners, whatever, you will get this emotional bias that you can't get away from.
You love the product and you can't see beyond the fact that you love the product.
So go to someone that doesn't carry that same love, that actually can talk to you in a very systematic and cold approach sometimes, to be like, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Or that
I think we all need that, right? And you and I enjoy talking because we have different businesses and we just get a different perspective on things. So even if it's your grandma, your aunt, that could be good too, but we're always happy for a chat too.
100%. So no, I'm talking about obviously after the success of the May webinars, we're now running one every month in June. We've got some really exciting webinars coming up. We've tried to keep them always till 3 till 4 p.m. on a Thursday, just to give that consistency. So if people want to block it out in the diary, then great.
Oh,
But
oh my God, that didn't work
I was
out.
going to say, we're whizzing around here. There's one next Thursday. There'll be one the Thursday after that, and there'll be one more. So we've got 3 more coming up.
So next Thursday, we're looking at what teams what team skills do your team need post lockdown? E-commerce is growing; it's not going away. Google is and websites are not the same as Amazon. What skills do you have in your company that you can marshal to make this work for you?
That's a really good one. I'm looking forward to that show because, again, it might seem like, oh, we're always like, this is never meant to be a sales pitch, right? The whole point is about education and about, you know what, sometimes you can do this stuff yourself. Like, you don't need us. So here's what you need for your business. Let's see, firstly, internally what we've got, and then let's plug the gaps.
Exactly. If anyone else has got any questions, do just shout them out. Otherwise, Nathan and I will let you.
And it was the next 2 webinars after that. What are there? There's one on omnichannel.
We have got, what skills does your e-commerce team need post-lockdown? The 80-20 rule and how it applies to e-commerce. And I think that that's going to be definitely one that's about mindset. And omnichannel versus e-commerce. People that are trying to grow online have to now compete with people that are already mastering direct to consumer. And so that really needs thinking through. And to be honest, this flooring company that I know the CEO of, he's been selling direct to consumer online since 2004. And he's the guy that was talking about the Google ads while he was in the factory. Like, if you're thinking of growing online, you've got to compete with those guys because they really know what they're doing and they're stealing a march on you. So that's we're going to talk about ways that we can kind of leapfrog ahead of that.
Perfect. Well, on behalf of Eloise and I, thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope you found it useful. If any of you got any questions or anything you'd like to share, not only would I ask you to please fill out the survey form, but do just drop us a message. We're always happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Always happy to chat. Thanks very much, guys. I hope to see some of you on next week's webinar.
Thanks, guys. Take care.